It's over. Archive it. The cipher is unbreakable.
The room went still. 16 cryptographers stared at a cipher that had beaten them all.
They can't just give up. There has to be something.
When the meeting broke, Mark printed a copy and slipped it into his jacket. 3 hours later, he stood outside the Maplewood Public Library, a place where silence still meant focus, not failure. The after-hours staff had left. Only the weekday librarian, Linda Mercer, remained, sorting returns at the circulation desk.
Mrs. Mercer, I know this isn't usual, but I need a mind that thinks differently. Please just take a look.
She adjusted her reading glasses and studied the page. In the library's warm light, her expression shifted from polite confusion to genuine interest.
16 analysts. Then, it's either impossible or the key is hidden in plain sight. I'll take a look.
She set her half-eaten sandwich aside and pulled a pencil from her cardigan pocket. The hunt had begun.
These clusters aren't random. They look like old-style dates. 1762, 1783, 1805. They repeat.
We ran frequency analysis for 3 weeks. Dates are too obvious. The cipher would have broken immediately.
Without answering, she stood and walked to the historical reference section. Mark followed, his frown deepening. Linda pulled a dusty volume from the shelf. An original 1762 Old Farmer's Almanac, its binding barely holding.
Look, the weather entry for the 12th of April, 1762 matches one cipher fragment. If this is the key, the code references real events.
A coincidence. How does a 260-year-old almanac break a modern cipher?
Because the cipher maker assumed machines would hunt for digital patterns, not a librarian with a dusty book.
She's either a genius or chasing fairy tales. But she's the only one who looked at an almanac.
I need time. This isn't a 10-minute puzzle. Let me work on it overnight.
If Evelyn finds out I left classified material with a civilian. But he looked at the notepad, at the neat dates. Fine. One night. Not a word to anyone.
She worked through the night, pulling volumes from shelves, her tea growing cold beside her.
The almanac mentions a ship departure on the 12th of April, 1762. But the cipher has gaps.
By dawn, her notepad held broken phrases. Departed Halifax, bearing south-southwest, and then only nonsense.
It's been 8 hours. Please tell me you found something.
I found a reference to a 1762 voyage. The cipher mimics a ship's log, but the words fragment after the first section.
A log? That's intentional. They used a historical text as a mask, but why does it break?
Because it's not a single substitution. The cipher shifts mid-text. There's a second layer encoded within the log.
She's thinking in layers the agency never considered. We might actually have a chance.
She opened another book, a 1783 diary of a French navigator, and began matching dates to the remaining symbols.
Someone built a nesting doll of codes. The first key unlocked a log, but the real message is hidden inside a second encryption.
She locked the library at midnight and walked home through the cold. But sleep never came.
The second cipher has to be a book cipher. But which book? It would need to be rare, obscure, something only a deep reader would know.
At 3 in the morning, she sat up in bed, reaching for her glasses.
The Principal Navigations, first edition, 1589. It's in the locked case. That's the only book that could hold a cipher grid for an age of sail log.
She threw on a coat and was at the library's back door before dawn. Key already in hand. In the rare books room, she scanned the spines, her finger trailing over leather and gold leaf.
There, Richard Hakluyt, 1589. The map is in the frontispiece. That's where they'd hide the cipher key.
She carried the heavy volume to her cluttered desk and opened it with careful hands.
The grid matches the log fragments. This is the second key.
She held the book that could break the cipher, a first edition so rare the agency would never have searched for it. When Mark arrived, Linda was already mapping a grid from the frontispiece onto her notepad.
The book has a coordinate grid keyed to date and page. Each symbol pair points to a letter inside the log.
They worked together, cross-referencing the cipher fragments with the grid. Words began to form on the page.
Maplewood Elementary, noon. That's a threat. A bomb. Oh, God. It's today.
The message stops abruptly. 3 extra symbols sit at the end, unaccounted for. This isn't the full location. These 3 symbols aren't noise. They're a modifier, a room number, a floor, something specific. The cipher isn't done.
We don't have time for another layer. We should report it now and evacuate the whole school.
If you report only Maplewood Elementary without the exact location, you might send people straight into the bomb.
She's right. A vague warning could cause a stampede. But every minute we wait...
Give me 1 hour. The modifier is hidden in a secondary key. I can break it. The children's lives depend on precision, not panic.
She set the timer on her phone and ignored the way Mark was pacing behind her chair.
The extra symbols aren't numbers. They form a metrical pattern, iambic, like a poem.
A poem? That's obscure even for you.
Poets hid meanings in shape and meter for centuries. The cipher maker would need a specific poem as a secondary key.
She crossed to the poetry section, her fingers searching spines until it stopped on a thin, faded volume.
George Herbert's The Temple, 1633. Shape poems that encode religious meaning and numbers.
The old volume fell open to Easter wings, 2 stanzas shaped like wings, their line lengths a perfect match.
The line lengths match the symbol groupings. The modifier is hidden in the word positions inside this stanza.
So we just map symbols to words, Linda. We have less than an hour.
I have the key. Now I need to build the mapping. Do not call anyone yet.
On the whiteboard, Linda began mapping the cipher symbols to word positions inside the stanza, counting syllables as she went.
The first symbol pair points to the 4th word in line 2, store. The next to the 2nd word in line 5, lives. It's building a phrase.
How do you know which stanza? There are dozens in this book.
The cipher's first layer gave a date of the 12th of April. Herbert wrote Easter wings for the Easter season. The theme fits a hidden warning from a religious poet.
She drew a final line on her notepad, and the word cafeteria appeared beneath the other decoded phrases.
Cafeteria. The lunchroom at noon. There will be hundreds of children in there.
The note in Linda's clean handwriting now held the unthinkable. Bomb at Maplewood Elementary, noon, cafeteria.
That's the complete message. Now we move.
We have to call the agency, but if I give them the solution, they'll demand to know the source. They'll trace it back to you.
She glanced at the library clock. 23 minutes until noon. Mark's thumb hovered over the call button. Linda reached across and gently pressed his hand down to the desk.
When you give them the solution, leave my name out. Promise me.
They'll demand the source. How do I explain a civilian solving a double-layered cipher in 12 hours?
Tell them it was an anonymous puzzle hobbyist. I have a reason.
She slid open her desk drawer and removed a small, cracked photograph, faded to sepia.
I was a cryptanalyst in the war. I cracked a transmission that saved hundreds. Then I missed a shift in a date key, and a supply fleet was struck. 63 men died because I was too tired to check my work. I never touched a cipher again. Until now.
Mark stared at the photo. A young woman in uniform, sharp-eyed, standing with other wartime codebreakers.
You are the one who cracked the Red Dragon cipher in 44. The agency still uses your technique. I'll protect you, I swear.
He dialed, and as the phone rang, Linda watched the clock tick toward noon. 20 minutes left.
Chen, you are calling at 7 in the morning. This better be urgent.
The cipher from last week, it's broken. The message is a bomb threat at Maplewood Elementary, noon, cafeteria.
Broken? By whom? Our team archived it as impossible.
An anonymous puzzle enthusiast. They used old almanacs and a rare poetry book. It's a double-layered cipher.
Chen, I know when you are hiding something. I can hear it in your voice. Who actually solved it?
A local librarian. She cracked it in hours, using historical keys nobody else considered. I promised her anonymity.
In the background, Linda's hands, which had been turning the photograph, stopped. She had heard her promise crack.
A librarian. I don't care how or why. Bring her in for debriefing immediately. This is a matter of national security.
She won't come. She wants to stay anonymous. I gave my word.
Your word doesn't override a direct order. Have her at the institute by tonight, or I'll send agents. Do you understand?
The next morning, Linda opened the library as usual, but she kept glancing at the door. Mark was already there, pacing.
It's Director Vance. He came himself instead of sending agents. I thought they'd send a security detail, not the director.
He knows who I am. This isn't a debriefing. It's a personal invitation. He wants me back.
Linda Mercer. The last time I saw you, we were in a signals hut in 1944. You haven't changed a bit.
He nodded toward the back office. They sat in the reading nook, the library's hush wrapping around them like a vault.
You know why I am here. That cipher yesterday wasn't just a test. There's another, more urgent one. Our best people are stalled.
He slid a tablet across the table, the screen glowing with unfamiliar symbol strings.
This one came in last night. We have maybe 48 hours. I am asking you, personally, to take a look.
The same symbol strings I decoded in 1944. He knows that. He's counting on it. He remembers.
Linda stared at the tablet, her hand hovering. Then she took it with both hands. Her fingers trembled against the screen, but the weight of the tablet in her hands brought it back. The room, the rain, the telegram. 1944. A signals hut in England. Young Linda, 22, with a code wheel, a pencil, and a reputation.
I've got it. The supply route they're sending tomorrow, it's the Southern Channel. Tell the fleet to reroute.
The routing change was relayed, but the date key she used was from the day before. The fleet was struck in the English Channel.
63 names. I didn't check the date.
She read every name. Then she walked out into the rain and never came back to the service. Now, in the quiet library, she opened her eyes. The tablet screen glowed. The new cipher waiting.
If I touch this and fail again, there will be more names.
But she pulled a pencil from her cardigan pocket. The same cardigan, the same habit.
I owe the dead to try, but I will do it on my terms, not the agency's.
Paul returned the next morning, alone. He found Linda in the reading nook, the tablet closed beside her.
Have you made a decision? We're running out of time.
I'll help, but not from your building. I'll consult remotely from this library on my lunch breaks between story times.
Remote? That's impossible. We need someone on site, cleared with full access. I can offer a secure position, a budget for the library.
I don't want a position. I want to stay a librarian. My terms are non-negotiable.
Linda, I remember what happened. I can't let you sit on a cipher. If lives are at stake, come to the facility.
I did more in one lunch break than your entire division did in months. I need my own space, my own books, take it or leave it.
He saw the unyielding set of her jaw and finally bowed his head.
Write your terms. I'll sign. You win.
On a library notepad, she wrote, "Consult from home, during lunch breaks only, no public acknowledgement," and she signed her name. That night, at her cottage desk, Linda spread out the cipher, her old technique laid bare, mapping the symbols to a rotating key from a forgotten dictionary.
The rhythm of these symbol shifts is like a clock. Once you find the pendulum, it's only a matter of clicks.
Within 2 hours, the cipher gave up its secret, a planned attack on a regional power grid, coordinates and timetable laid bare.
Director Vance, I'm sending you the solution now. It's a grid attack, substation 14, midnight tomorrow.
Already solved? I told you this cipher had our top analysts stumped for a week.
It helps having the right dictionary. The key was a 1940S technical manual, a physical book none of your computers would scan.
Outstanding. But we should have you come in for the next threat briefing, even just once.
We have an agreement, Paul. Lunch breaks, remote only. I am not a field agent.
I know, but your expertise is unprecedented. We need you closer. The country needs you.
She reached toward the screen, her finger hovering over the disconnect button. She disconnected the call and sat in the quiet of her cottage. The next afternoon, Mark appeared at the library door with a bouquet of wildflowers and an apology in his eyes.
I never properly thanked you. That school bomb, you saved lives, and I almost blew your cover.
You kept your word in the end, Mark. That's what matters. Now sit. I have fresh tea.
They sat among the stacks, and for a few minutes, the agency felt far away.
Evelyn's been breathing down my neck. She still wants you in, but I told her you are consulting on your terms. I'll be your buffer.
Thank you. I know it's not easy straddling two loyalties.
The agency needs you, but they don't get to own you. I'll make sure they respect the boundaries. You have my word.
She allowed herself a rare, full smile. In a world of shadowed deals, she had found an honest hand.
Maybe this time I can do it right, with an ally, not an enemy at my back.
But the agency's demands were only beginning. The real test of her terms was still to come. 2 mornings later, Linda found a brown envelope on her desk. No stamp, no return address, just her name in cut-out letters. The note inside read, "Stop consulting for the agency or the library burns. You have 24 hours.
They know it's me. Someone inside the agency leaked.
She called Paul immediately. His voice was calm, but she could hear the tension underneath.
Linda, I'll send a security detail to the library. We can evacuate, sweep for devices.
No uniforms. If they see agents, they'll trigger it. I'll solve this myself in my own time, my own way.
Mark burst through the door, out of breath. He saw the note and stopped cold.
Linda, you can't stay here. This is a direct threat. Let the agency handle.
Number. This is my library, my home. I won't let them scare me off. I'll crack this one too, on my lunch break.
She turned to her desk, spread the cipher beside the new threat, and picked up her pencil. The clock was ticking. At noon, Linda locked the library doors and spread the cipher on her desk. Mark paced behind her, a shadow of tension.
They targeted my library, so they'll expect fear. But fear isn't a cipher key. Arrogance is. The symbol shifts reference chapter titles. Sailor's Return, Wild Wood. It's a children's book cipher. Kenneth Graham.
Her pencil traced the mappings, swift and precise, the decoded message appearing beneath her hand.
15 minutes left. Linda.
She wrote the final line. Matchstick at children's section, noon. Victor Hale, a disgraced ex-analyst, thought dead.
Paul, it's Hale. He's targeting the library. Search his old Cleveland address now.
Victor Hale? We'll have a team there in 10 minutes. Stand down and lock yourself in.
11 minutes later, the agency breach team found a canister of gasoline and a timer set for the children's story hour.
Not bad for a lunch break.
The next afternoon, Paul Vance returned to the library carrying a crisp envelope and a heavier offer.
You've saved hundreds of lives, Linda. The agency wants to make you a permanent consultant, full access, secure office, anything you need.
I already told you my terms. I won't set foot in the building. But I can train others. Permanent consultant would mean leaving the library. I came here to escape that life. But a student, perhaps, I'll train 2 analysts by video. Twice a week, during my lunch break. No more. And the library gets a discreet grant for the children's section.
That's not what I hoped for, but it's more than I expected. You drive a hard bargain, Mercer.
He slid the agency's classified commendation across the desk. A silent thank you meant for shadows, not spotlights. Linda tucked it into her drawer, under the old photo, among the library cards. History now had a companion.
Then we understand each other. For the library and for peace. No more, no less.
He shook her hand, and one of the greatest cryptanalytic minds in history went back to sorting picture books. Weeks later, a secure terminal appeared in the library basement. Linda's first training session began.
A cipher's weakness isn't its math, it's its maker. Every code carries a fingerprint.
Two young analysts leaned in on the split screen, notebooks open, as she showed them the old rotating key.
She taught me more in one afternoon than I learned in 2 years at the agency.
Now you try. I'll send a practice cipher. Lunch break's over. I have story time in 10 minutes.
She closed the tablet and walked upstairs to the circulation desk, where a stack of picture books waited. The new children's corner shone with fresh paint, cushioned seats, and shelves full of books, all from the anonymous grant.
Today we're reading about a little rabbit who solves a maze. Puzzles are everywhere, you know.
A small girl climbed onto a cushion and stared up at Linda with wide, adoring eyes. Linda smiled, and for a moment, the secret world of ciphers and threats was a universe away. When the last child had gone, Linda closed the storybook and let the silence settle. She walked through the stacks, her hand trailing spines, picking up a forgotten picture book. In her office, she slid open the drawer that held the old photograph.
She studied the young face and felt not guilt, but a quiet reconciliation.
Then she closed the drawer, not with a slam, but with the gentleness of acceptance. She turned off the desk lamp, the room darkening around her. She flicked the switch on the library's main lights, leaving only the security lamp glowing. The books seemed to breathe in the dim light, their secrets safe for another night. She locked the front door and stepped into the evening. The streetlight cast a warm circle. For the first time in decades, she walked home with no cipher in her head, only the quiet. The next morning, a package waited on her cottage doorstep, wrapped in brown paper and tied with twine.
Paul. Of course he'd send a book, a silent offering.
Inside lay a first edition of George Herbert's The Temple, its leather cracked, but the gold lettering still legible. A small card slipped out. For the library, P.
The only thanks that fits a librarian. A book for the ages.
She ran her fingers over the spine, feeling the ridges of centuries, then set it on her desk beside the photograph. That afternoon, she carried the book to the library and slid it into the rare books shelf, beside the old almanac. No plaque, no display, just a first edition among dusty volumes, a secret testament. She adjusted her cardigan, walked to the circulation desk, and watched the doors open. The first children bounded in, already asking for a story about a maze. She settled the book on her lap and began. The little rabbit stared at the maze, flowers taller than his ears. The boy's hand shot up. Why do you love puzzles so much, Miss Linda?
Because every puzzle has a story, and every story deserves to be told.
The children nodded solemnly, accepting her words as absolute truth. In the doorway, Mark leaned against the frame. He didn't enter. Linda's eyes found his across the tiny heads of the children, and she paused. A slight, knowing smile passed between them. A perfect, silent code that needed no cipher. Mark's head dipped once. Then he stepped back, swallowed by the shadow of the stacks. Linda returned to the rabbit, her voice steady as the maze unraveled on the page. Outside, the library sign glinted in the afternoon sun. Story time, it read, bright under the leaves. The library fell quiet as dusk settled. The storytime sign was turned to closed. Beside the door, a small bronze plaque caught the last light, donated by the National Cipher Institute, in honor of a quiet hero. A bicycle leaned against the wall, left by a child who had rushed home. Through the windows, the lamp still burned warm, guarding the books inside. Down the street, in a cottage with ivy walls, Linda poured a cup of tea. She sat at the desk, Where the old photograph now rested, without accusation, the library stood as it always did, a fortress of stories, of every kind, and somewhere in the stacks, a first edition waited for a reader who might never know its full purpose. No applause, no headline, just a librarian, a pencil, and a debt to the dead quietly paid.